All right, quiet on the set.
All right, gotcha.
This weekend SEC football promo. Take two. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your guy, Mr. Fingaz, coming to you live from Zagniv Central.
Hey, and I'm Collin P, your brother from another. What it is, Showbiz?
I will tell you what it is, Showbiz. You guys, welcome to this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. But before we get started, do us a little favor. If you're watching us on the YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. We appreciate you much. And if you want to be a contributor to the show, a little something to help the cause, right down there in the bottom, in the lower third, in the crawl, rolling across your screen is the address for our Patreon page. We got some great perks for those of you that are contributors and regular viewers of the show, because we appreciate you so very, very much. So, Collin, my man, I think it's time to get this show started. What you say?
My man, let's lay the hammer down.
Oh, you know we gonna do something before two something. Club Shay coming right at you right after this. Oh, hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls.
What Bama does, what Bama do. They were giving Alabama like Alabama was this. If Alabama didn't lose their two starters,
not show up that day,
Dude,
or was it
you watch the same
systematically? It's offense more like I've noticed it's more of a passing.
Hey, who knows? It might have been, might have not been. Who knows? But then again, that's what I call it football. I mean,
oh man, that's definitely going on the blooper reel.
When you do that voice, I think of Norbert. Oh my God, we have a dandelion encrusted rib.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody is enjoying their 4th of July. How are you doing? And you guys back there in the cheap seats, how are you doing? It is time for yet another edition of This Week in SEC Football, Season 2, Episode 11. I am your host, one half of the team from Zagniv Central, Mr. Fingaz, and also that fella over there, the brother from another, the sexy Mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place in your face. I'm very happy to be here. Collin P from the DMV. What it is, Showbiz? How you doing?
What's up, man? I can't do this, man. I can't. It's a subtle shout out to our boy Golden Blue dude. I can't do the glasses like that. But how you doing, my friend? I'm doing good, man. How you enjoying your 4th, man? How you doing?
The 4th of July, man. I've been chilling. This is, aside from yard work, this is the most work I've done all weekend, is working on this. Go ahead. I didn't do a whole bunch of nothing else, man. I mean, I was up last night chopping up some videos and throwing them up. For those of you that want to follow us, you see our socials there on the screen. We've got the Instagram at Zagniv Productions. We got the Facebook at the Zagniv One Streaming Network. We got the YouTube page at Zagniv Productions, Zagniv One. We got the apparel shop where you can go and get the merchandise and gear at the Etsy shop, and down in the other corner, we got the Patreon page. If you guys want to support, we've reworked the tiers now. Before they were like $15, $20, $25, $50, $75. They're now like $1, $5, $10, $25. So even if you guys want to support the show for $1 a month, that's fine. We'll take those $12. We can put that to good use. We appreciate that. That's all I had going on this weekend, man. I'm gonna throw a little something on the grill a little bit later on after we get off of here.
Bro, I tell you, basically, I normally work on July 4th. I'm not happy about that when I work. But I mean, this is this year first time in a long time that I have the day off. So baby mom came and gave it, picked up old B-man, and didn't kind of know what to do with myself, man. I was just here by myself. I didn't know what to do. So I was hitting you up. I was like, hey, we're gonna run early. Let's do this.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, what really happened, the part he left out was I hit him up earlier today, so let's get on at 4 so we could chop it up, see what we gonna talk about. And then he hit me up at 4. He hit me up at 3:59, saying, "Hey, man, it's gonna be closer to 5:30." And I was like, "Bro, we supposed to be on at 5:30." He was like, "Oh, I'll be there."
Hey, man, I'm here. I'm always here. for you exactly, man. Come on.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay, Michael Jackson, I'll be there, or Mariah Carey, depending on how old you are.
Jackson 5, get it right.
Depending on which one you want, which way you want to take that. So, yeah, I mean, dude, I'm gonna be thrown off. I mean, I'm gonna be grateful for the short week, but I'm gonna be thrown off because it's a short week.
You know what's crazy? I mean, like honestly, bro, like we've been talking, like it. You know, we were trying to find something to talk about, like through the non-season, you know, the off-season, that kind of stuff. But man, has it not been like? I mean, it's been a crazy off-season as far as the teams, the movement, the NIL. I mean, like you name it, it's just been nuts, right?
Yeah, everything's been crazy, and we're going to talk about that. See, we had a whole plan. What's going on, Beth and my man B Quinn? Appreciate y'all dropping through. We had planned to do, we started a series where we're going to talk about, and we're still going to get to that, where we plan to talk about, pick a team each week. We actually were going to double up during the week. We're going to do a Monday show. We're going to do a Monday and a Thursday or whatever night you're free, Collin, and talk about a team of the week and see how we thought they would do in the conference. Well, this news started breaking about all this stuff going on, man, over the weekend. It started on Thursday and just went, and I just looked at all my notes and went, well, I won't need those no more. I can just throw that away. So yeah, it's been crazy, and we're gonna jump right on into it. We're not gonna take too terribly long. Oh, but before I go another further, man, I forgot to tell you. So shout outs to the Let's Talk Football family. Sean Spencer, Janae Strother, they got the whole Let's Talk Football thing going, and now there are a family of podcasts that fall up underneath that umbrella. You got the Let's Talk Football show, you've got the Let's Talk Football Lady show, you've got the Let's Talk draft special every year, you've got the Roundtable, you got Washington Football Weekly, and there's a couple of other ones and then Sunday morning with the Swintons, which is starting to catch on and become a favorite with Mrs. Swinton's Pop Quiz. So yesterday, your boy was a guest along with our neighbor from the north, Kyle Yacy, also a Dirty Bird fan. And they had me and Kyle on, and we had to do a little Dirty Bird flex on him. I got to show this to you real quick. So check this out. Peep how we did it. Peep how we went in on him.
That's what we opened the show with. But since we have two Falcons fans on the show, we are jumping into the football talk. We're going to do a Falcons update with the top Dirty Bird fans out there. Mr.
Oh my gosh, no they didn't.
They both got their Falcons hats. They came prepared.
Bro, I love that. Love that. You guys are like right on cue, my man. That was awesome.
And that was not planned. I mean, I told him I was going to put my hat on. I had it on, and I said, I'm going to take it off. I'll wait till we get done with the intro, and I'll throw mine on. And little did I know, a man had his too. So it was a totally unplanned moment. So when I grabbed my hat, he grabbed his, and it turned into this whole thing. And we have coined that the hashtag Dirty Bird Flex. Hopefully that catches on. I probably should trademark that just in case that hashtag catches on.
Put a zero, see what is zero around, sir. Trademark, baby.
Yeah, right. But before we get into that, we, of course, want to thank our primary sponsor of the show, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, DJG Enterprises and Greek Gans. I don't know why it won't. There it is. It's on the screen. It's playing right now. They can make you custom Greek Gans and custom sports gear. So hit them up. The quality of work is very good. That's actually my engraved coffee mug right there. I don't have an Afghan yet, but I plan to get one. It'll have my little fraternity stuff on it. I might get one with the dogs on it, and he'll do one of those for me. But they do absolutely marvelous work. You see the website right there, www.greekgans.com. Get at them today, or you can email the owner, Darius Gordine, at dariusjerome@gmail.com. Thank you for being a big sponsor of this week in SEC football. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Like, no segue or nothing. Let's just go right on into it. I don't know if you heard, I started hearing buzzings on Thursday on the sports radio station here about some kid from Miami who got a stupid NIL deal. And we've been talking about this since it got started, that the NIL deals were going to be out of control because there was no regulation. There was this whole big deal about his agent who actually was steering recruits away from the University of Florida because he said, Michael Caspino, they said that he was steering recruits away from the University of Florida because of their quote-unquote toxic football environment So there's a whole big deal around this. $9.5 million, man. That's more money. That's right now. This kid has a deal that's worth Nick Saban's salary.
Again, man. I mean, how many downs has he played? Obviously, his collegiate football career. You know what I'm saying?
Zero.
Nada, right? I mean, the boy getting paid 9.5 for just, I mean, his accolades on paper.
And
You know what I mean?
hear me on this. He's a rising senior, so he doesn't even hit the scene. He's with Arch Manning next year.
Yeah,
He could have a
that's what I'm saying.
craptastic.
It's absolutely insane that these kids are getting paid or like flaunted that kind of cash in front of them when they have, I mean, they have not stepped foot on the collegiate football field. I mean, we've talked about this several times. You know what I mean? It all boils down to how they are on paper. I mean, everybody can be great on paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, and these guys are like 18 years old. You know what I mean? Coming straight out of high school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, and again, my question: you're 18 years old. Somebody just cut you a check for $9.5 million. Are you really concerned with what the coaches are telling you?
Well, that's another question. Another question is, how long do you think he's going to be? How long do you think he's going to be concerned with being like doing well on the football field or how to produce on the football field? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Them dollar signs, they tend to make you look a little different. You know what I'm saying? A little different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I dropped my water bottle. I was trying to get it. I dropped it under the desk. But yeah, like seriously, $9.5 million. And then think about at Miami, he's going to be making more money than the coach. Like their coach is not making that much money.
Yeah.
You are 18 years old and you have a deal where you're going to make, when it's all said and done, more money than the coach. And here's the messed up part. His original deal that Florida offered him was 11.5.
So he went less.
So he took a $2 million hit. Well, not a hit for him because he's 18 years. He's gonna be 18 years old. But he took a $2 million pay cut, so to speak, to go play ball at the University of Miami. And what is this doing, man?
Forgive me, man. But is this guy from Florida? Like he's from Miami, or like is it from the area? Or do you know?
He's from Pittsburgh.
Would that be the reason that he?
He's a California kid.
Wow, that makes even less sense. I mean, that makes absolutely even less sense. They took less money to go to Miami from Florida. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there you go. I mean, that goes to show the not necessarily the smarts. I don't want to say the smarts, but I mean like I don't get it. I really don't get it. Throwing this kind of cash at kids this younger age, I don't get throwing this cash.
It's a smart move for him at 18 years old. I mean, but even still, how smart is it? Because he's 18 years old.
Yeah.
There's our guy. There's the shout out king, Mr. Sean Spencer.
There he is.
What's going on, my guy? Sean Spencer, one half of the dynamic duo of the founding couple of the Let's Talk Football family sports, and the reason that you and I are sitting here today, because he reached out to us and like, bro.
For sure.
He's like, bro,
and
you guys should
never ever do that. That's the best thing that ever happened. Go ahead on.
Yeah, he's driving, so like I said, he's on the road. Be safe on the road, my friend. Appreciate you tuning in. For those of you,
95, man, it was a big, huge wreck. And not to get off the subject, there was a big, huge wreck down by where I'm from, there, Fingaz, right around Kings and Larry, 95. They were actually rerouting people through my hometown, which was kind of crazy.
I don't think he's that far down the road. I believe he's still in the state of Virginia.
He's still in Roanoke.
Yeah. So, but this kid was also being recruited by LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. So apparently, the juice is worth the squeeze. This kid's a quarterback too. He's a quarterback recruit. So apparently he's a big time 5-star kid. Oh, actually, I take that back. Now I know who this kid is. This is the kid that's starting to pop up that they're saying could be better than Arch Manning. He's been popping up in the last few weeks with all the Arch Manning news. He popped up. So if this kid's getting $9.5 million, and this is all from boosters, the boosters have gotten this money together. But my whole point behind this is, what does this do for other kids that
No.
are coming in. They're going to want this kind of money. It becomes a benchmark. It's just like when they gave Matt Ryan all that money when he was a quarterback in Atlanta. Well, then from that point going forward, every quarterback that made the playoffs, made a deep run in the playoffs, quarterbacks that maybe weren't on that big a deal that won Super Bowls, were looking for that same kind of money.
Yeah.
And you
But
know the two positions on the pro football field that get paid the most money are the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And then after that, defensive players. And every now and again you get a running back that gets like Ezekiel Elliott got his little supermax deal, whatever he got. But
yeah.
now this kid is walking in the door with $9.5 million, maybe with, next year remains to be seen what's going to happen. But what happens from there? Like, it's just going
to. Did you see? I was going to bring in. Did you see? Like Jimbo Fisher, him and Saban barking at each other, blah blah blah. Did you see? You saw the video with the guy from A&M talking to these players. It's like he was pointing up in the middle, up in the stadium, up in these little boxes up in here. He said, "These guys up here, they're paying a lot of money for you guys playing, to play. All these boozers up here." He got caught. You know what I'm saying? Somebody videotaped him saying to these players that basically they're going to get being paid. They're going to, they're getting paid by these boosters, by these people up in these boxes, to play football at A&M. So you need to, be on your P's and Q's and be, play your ass off, basically. That right there, that shows a lot. You know what I mean? Right. It's going on. But that right there, that's video evidence that it's going on. You know what I'm saying?
But it's been going on, man, and it's been going on forever. We talked about a few weeks back about how Southern Methodist, basically their program was given the kiss of death by the NCAA because they were paying everybody. And this was for those of you that may not be familiar with Southern Methodist University, if you know the name Eric Dickerson, who at one point was the baddest running back in the land, wound up playing for the Rams and had a Hall of Fame career. Those guys were backing up Brinks trucks to pay those guys. Yeah. And you can't tell me the 01 Miami team they weren't balling. You can't tell me that. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm saying like you got to be a little bit naive to think it's not going on, but that was right there in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially coming from A&M, from a an assistant coach or whoever he was that was affiliated with A&M. Talking to these players when Fisher was actually him and Saban were going back and forth about paying players this, that, and other. Them being how they're being the recruit. A&M being as well. Being good at the recruiting right now. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's right there in your face. You gotta be naive not to know it's not going on. I'm just saying that just shows you. It's just amazing to me that these kids have not set foot on a collegiate football field, and they're being given this kind of cash. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And from the standpoint of a pro player, okay, I get it when you draft a guy and you draft him in the upper echelon of the first round, that you're going to pay him. You're going to pay him a good little piece of money, period, because you're picking him in the first round. That's expected. And I get that there's a market value that's somewhat already been established for these players. I think that these teams should probably sit down and come up with a pay scale with a bottom and a top range, like in the rest of the corporate world, where you got a low range and a high range, and we'll pay you. We will pay you anywhere from this on the low end to this on the high end.
You said $9 million. $9 million is astronomical. I wouldn't even think.
For a high school kid for a high school kid that's got one more year of college football to play. And that number could be more than that by the time he gets to Miami, unless the regulatory committee, which doesn't exist, unless they come up with a regulatory committee and finally start putting a kibosh on this. Not a kibosh, but really
regulation. At the very least, the regulation. They're saying it's like it's that's the thing I've said several times. And you probably believe, you agree with me. It's like there's nothing to equate these kids at a high school except a piece of paper. You know what I mean? And and I know, I both know that being a player, and I mean, obviously I didn't play, but I'm saying like being a high school kid playing football and going there's a difference. There's a difference in playing scale between high school and college, and then college to NFL. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you get offered and actually ultimately paid this kind of cash when you coming straight out of high school, when there's no guarantee you're going to play the way you played in high school at college. You know what I mean?
Right. Because
It
when
just
you're in
doesn't
high
make sense
school,
to me.
this goes back to the fish in the pond theory that I've been talking about for the
Yeah,
last few weeks.
I agree.
Right now, these kids, these superstar studs, are big fish in small ponds. Now you are elevating up to the next level. If you're playing at a school that has a storied tradition of football excellence, whether they're good right now or not, once you move up to D1 and you're playing with these grown men that are training like grown men, that are
Yeah,
hitting harder than kids in high school, that are
yeah.
bigger, faster, stronger than kids in high school. And everybody at that point, there's 3-star kids that are coming in that are at higher levels than some of the kids that you're playing against in high school.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now you're the small fish in the big pond. I like to
Right.
use the Spencer Rattler analogy because Spencer Rattler had the special on ESPN, and he was crowned the heir apparent and the next Heisman hopeful before he
Yeah.
even set foot on campus in Norman.
Yeah.
And then when they start going pad on pad and the offense wasn't really clicking and the defense was putting the offense in bad situations and Rattler was running for his life, all of a sudden, do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But I'm
And
saying
he
that's
had
it.
he had
In
an
my mind,
NIL deal.
I think they're setting these guys up, these kids up to fail. You know what I'm saying? I think that they're going out and they're not looking for that next level. You know what I'm saying? They're getting paid this money already, and they're not necessarily focused on the next level of football. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, you're in high school. You need to work your ass off, get to college. Then you got to work your ass off to get to NFL. Then when you get to NFL, that's when you look at the pocketbook. That's when you get the money. That's when you look for that bag. You look for getting that bag.
But
And
at that
now
point
you're putting that bag
but the
way down
whole
there.
way
So
at the whole way through, you still have to start thinking about making good decisions. And 18-year-olds are
yep.
notorious for not making the greatest of decisions.
Well,
And
yeah. I mean that's
you are
rookies
getting
in the NFL though
you are
too. I
writing
mean,
18-year-old child. Yes, legally legally you are able to vote, you are able to register for selective service and join the military, you are able to operate a motor vehicle, you are able to buy cigarettes. The only thing you are not able to legally do is drink. So from a legal standpoint, you have certain things that you are now able to do. But at 18, you're not fully conscious unless you have good people around you. And a lot of these
that's
kids that are coming into this money are coming from scenarios where their
yep,
family is looking for them to pull them up out of a scenario. So these people are saying,
absolutely.
yeah, by all
And
means, go get that money.
you got these coattail riders too. They're gonna come and like come on you. You guys they're gonna be your posse, what have you, and whatever. That's gonna you got that money. I mean, they're gonna take advantage of it. So I mean, I'm saying
Yeah.
it's just one of the things.
One of the saddest stories that I like to tell, I mean, it's not an uber sad story because he's not living a life of total poverty, but it's about MC Hammer. MC Hammer in
Yeah,
1991 was the biggest rapper. This was before the whole West Coast popped off with Snoop
right.
and Tupac.
Yeah,
And I mean, the biggest thing coming out of the West Coast at that point was NWA Ice Cube. But like they really hadn't started jumping off like that yet. And MC Hammer was the biggest thing coming out of California.
yeah,
The biggest thing out of California. He was touring basketball. He was selling out basketball arenas all around the country. He went on a global tour. He had a net worth in 1990 something of $133 million, which probably
mm-hmm.
adjusted for inflation would probably be maybe around somewhere around maybe 400 or 500 mil, which is a
Yeah,
lot of money. Like he would be worth as much money as Patrick Mahomes' contract right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
And what he did was everybody around him got a paycheck. Like
Hey, look at this posse. Look at everybody around him.
when I first went to see MC Hammer perform, when he first came to Savannah, he came on stage. It was him, it was a DJ, it was his hype man, and there were his 2 opening acts, and he had like maybe 2 dancers, and that was it. when the Can't Touch This tour came back to Savannah, it was MC Hammer. He had 2 DJs. He had a 6-piece band. He had a 5-piece. He had 5-piece guys, 5-piece with guys dancing, a 5-piece of females dancing. He had the background. He had a 5-piece backup vocals with men, 5-piece backup vocals with women. There were like 30 people on stage. That doesn't include
people on stage.
That doesn't include the sound engineers, the tour staff, the wardrobe people, the publicity people. He went from king of the mountain to damn near broke in the span of a couple of years, and because everybody had their hands in his pockets. And I told that long story to say this is what can happen potentially with these 18-year-old kids. That kid's, I mean, prayerfully, that kid still got that money in his pocket by the time he makes it to the league. If he makes it, prayerfully, he makes it to the league. Because how many kids, how many 5-stars? How many 5-stars coming to college wind up not even getting drafted or wind up being 4th or 5th picks in the draft and they get signed to the practice squad? That might be all the money that he makes during at the apex of his career. I know I'm thinking about it too hard. I might be thinking about it too hard, but basically what this is going to do, I think, is it is going to start to dissolve the very fabric of college football, because now everybody's going to want, oh, if that guy's getting $9.5 million, what about the next big 5-star coming up in the class of 2024 or 2025? Right. By 2026, kids will be coming in making $12, $13 million. And again, no 18-year-old making $12 million is going to want to listen to their football coaches making $6 million a year.
Exactly. See, you hit the nail on the head right there. So if I'm making more money than my coach is, why would I want to listen to him? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the way it has gone, it's the next level, step upon step. Like you're in high school, you work your butt off to get to the next level, which is college. Get your scholarship, get scholarship, whatever school you want to go to. Then you go to the next, which is the what you want to be ultimately is NFL. There is nothing right now. You're paying these kids now in college, actually, out of high school now, even, there is nothing to work toward, in my opinion. There's nothing to look forward to get to the NFL. Because if you make a 9 point whatever million out of high school, I mean, you could think, you're Billy Badass. Honestly, if you're making more than your coach is, even in high school, even in high school, say your coach tells you to do something. Nah, man, I got this NIL deal. Like when I get out of here, I don't have to do nothing. You tell me I am good enough. I don't need to listen to anything you tell me. I'm going to school. I'm making $9 million, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it just sounds like it's messing up the hierarchy. I guess you could call it a hierarchy. But I mean, it just makes, to my opinion, it just makes people get better in their craft. You know what I mean? But it's like, I mean, you get
if you have, I think if you have a goal to aspire to.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's in the nutshell. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? When I went off to basic training, I was like, look, my ultimate goal is to graduate basic training, make it to A school, graduate A school, and be all I can be in the military, right? But if I went in, you know what, Sean? There's a very good question here in the comments. When do they get that money? I don't think they get it until they get to school. I haven't done that kind of research. That's a good question I need to look up. But
that's great.
I can guarantee you that kid is getting some of that money funneled to his family right now.
Well, some of that is okay, now. But I'm saying that 9 point whatever million. That's a great question. I don't know when that full sum comes to that kid. We're talking about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that would make a little bit of a difference. But I mean, is it something that you talk about, Fingers? Like, far as it, getting a decided amount per couple months, or that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But we don't know
absolutely. That. 100%. So I don't. I mean, and then the other question is, and we're gonna have to wrap this up because we've been talking for half the show about this now. Not that I mind, because it's a big thing that we need to talk about. But where does the line get drawn? At what point do high school kids start getting money? I mean, it's only a matter of a few years before high school kids start getting money like that.
Yeah.
And then at that point, what incentive is it? What incentive is it to go play? Like, and here's the other thing.
Wait.
Here's the other thing. That kid essentially has a $9.5 million contract, which is more than enough money that he's going to need during 4 years of college, right? Or 3 years, because they only had to play 3. So essentially, he's getting $3.167 million a year. Okay. Now, let's say he winds up getting picked in the 3rd or the 4th round because he turns out to not be that great a college athlete, or he just doesn't have a great career at the University of Miami, just because Miami's in a rebuilding phase right now, and he gets drafted in the 3rd or the 4th round. Well, he's not going to want to take less than the money that he's making right now. As a 3rd or 4th rounder, as a 3rd or 4th rounder, he's not going to get $3.16 million.
Right, but what's to stop him from not playing a down in college football to go straight to the NFL? You know what I'm saying? He's getting that
NCAA.
I mean, NCAA rule. I get that. He has to do that, per the rules. I get you. But how honestly, how intensely or whatever would he play? Like he's already got that money. Would he actually ball out or try
that would just be him shooting himself in the foot, though, because if he shows up to college and doesn't play, then he's not going to get. Yeah, but that $9.5 million can go real quick when you don't have a financial advisor or a good accountant or somebody, because a lot of people. How many times have you heard about these guys?
That kind of play as a kid.
Yeah, how many times have you heard about guys that get in the league and they let family members work as their accountants, and their accountants just bilk them out of all their money, or their friends bilk them out of all that money?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Clinton Portis right now is hurting. Clinton Portis made good money in the league, and he's hurting because he let people tell him deals he should get into, and then he let some people talk him into a bad deal where they were trying to defraud the NFL Players Association. But that's a whole different story. But who's to say he's going to have any of that money left at 18 years old? Somebody had me $9.5 million 30-something years ago. I wouldn't have a penny of that money right now.
Yeah, I feel you. But that's what I'm saying. That's my point, though. It's like he's going to be given that amount of cash. And he's going to, at that point, he's going to be given that cash. He's going to think he's, 10 feet tall, bulletproof, what have you. He's going to have all this, and it's going to run out. You know what I'm saying? And if he was playing through, said Miami, all right, so he's going to Miami, he's going to have to show his behind, and they're going to play to his stat, like to what they expect him to be. But I mean, you have that kind of money. Like, what would make you want to play that hard? Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
you already got that money. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
now, how you gonna get to
the only make at this point? Like, think about this. At this point, at 18 years old, you're making 3.17, rounding it up. You're making $3.17 million a year to play college football for 3 years. The only motivating factor would be if you got drafted at least in the high first round so that you could make more money than that. Because no kid is going to want, 21, 22-year-old kid is going to want to take less money than what he's making right now. And that's essentially
what I'm saying is like devil's advocate here. Are you already got that money coming out of high school? What makes you want to play after that? You know what I'm saying? You got 9 point whatever million.
Wanting
you got that money, like, well, I don't need to play. I got 9 point. I got whatever right now.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, and there probably will be some kids that will do that. But at this point, once you get to college, your goal is to get to the pros. So his only hope is
that's what it used to be, right?
It should be that his hope is to get to the pros, so that like Sean said, where's their motivation? There is none.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I agree with what you're saying, Fingaz. I mean, I'm saying that's the way it was. Like I'm saying, the monetary stuff in the NIL, whatever, straight out of high school is doing away with the motivation to get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like your high school, your motivation should be to get to college. Your next level should be to get to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and when you're giving that money straight out of high school, I mean, like I'm not saying that happens, but I'm saying it very well could happen where these kids are they lose motivation when they get top over something big. If I was 18,
I mean, the reality of here's the reality of the situation. $9.5 million should be enough if you're smart and invest some of it and put some of it in certain places to be able to make that money work for you. But at 18 years old, he's going to have cars. He's going to be blinged out. He's gonna have it
Then
on.
you got people you never heard of, and
He's gonna have it on. He's gonna have it on Entourage. So basically, to wrap this whole thing up in a nutshell, because we got to move a little forward here before we get too far going to talk about our next topic, which is the one I really wanted to get into. Seriously, the NCAA, I know the Supreme Court gave their ruling, but the NCAA really needs to step up and do something about regulating this for real, because if they don't regulate it, the next part of the show that we're going to talk about, it's really going to turn into a free-for-all. So, that's where we are this week on NILs. I'm pretty sure we'll have more next week, but that was the big story breaking this week that we wanted to share with you. We're going to move into our next segment. Quick pause for the cause. We'll be right back.
Zagnif Productions, in association with Zagnif Apparel, gives you the opportunity to win free athletic gear. And here's how you do it. Visit the Zagnif Apparel Design Shop at Etsy.com. Purchase any piece of apparel that will automatically qualify you for the August 7th drawing for free apparel. Each purchase counts as one entry. No limit on the number of entries allowed. At least one lucky winner will win one free outfit. That's right, one free top, one free bottom. Note, the embroidered bomber jackets will not be regarded as prizes for this sweepstakes. July 30th is the last day to enter. So get to the Zagnif Apparel Design Shop at Etsy.com today for your chance to win free athletic gear, courtesy of Zagnif Apparel, in conjunction with Zagnif Productions, LLC.
Let me jump in real quick. Those hoodies. Do you have a hoodie? Did you buy one of those hoodies?
Yeah, I have one. I've got one. It's a multicolor. It's very comfortable, bro. It's like
awesome.
like that's the kind of hoodie. Remember as a kid when you got the hoodie, when you get in that hoodie and you could just go to sleep in it because it was that comfortable. They are bomb comfortable. Like I got single. I was looking at that. Yeah, I got single colors and I got the ones with the different color sleeves. It's called the tricolor hoodies. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do have, as part of Zagnif Productions, we do have an apparel line. The QR code, if you want to get at that, is in that corner over there, right next to Collin. You scan that, it takes you right to that website right there, Etsy.com/shop/Zagnif Apparel Design. Go there now. If you not right now because you're watching the show, but go to the website. Go to the website, look around, see what you like. I mean, if you make any purchase, and we have small dollar value stuff there too. We got cell phone covers for Androids and iPhones. I think we got mouse pads, we got ball caps, and I don't think any of those are over $20. But we also have apparel. We got ladies' leggings, we got plus size leggings, we got multiple color leggings. You saw the thing. We got yoga shorts, we got joggers for the dudes, we got t-shirts, we got the whole. Go over there, buy anything. One purchase will get you an entry. And August 7th, that runs from now through July 30th. One purchase will get you one entry. You can enter as many times as you like with every individual purchase. Like if you really want to break it up, it's not cheating. If you say, I like this shirt and these shorts, buy the shirt, that's one entry. Buy the shorts, that's another entry. Boom, you've got two entries. One lucky winner from all of the folks that buy stuff from now through the 30th of July have an opportunity it will be entered into a drawing. One lucky winner, a minimum of one. Now, if we get a whole bunch of people buying, we might do multiple winners. Right now, it's one lucky winner. We'll get a free top and a free bottom of their choosing. It's that simple. You could buy yourself a hat and wind up with a matching top and a pair of joggers or leggings or something like that. So go on over there, hit the QR code or take down the website number right there in the corner. Look at that. I got it right on point. Bam, right in the corner. Hit that website right there and pick yourself up some fresh gear. We're going to move into our next segment, but first we want to thank another one of our sponsors, Envision Social Media, giving you the power to empower, create, sustain your social media platforms so that they can become profitable for you and for your client base that you're trying to reach. Very easy to get a hold of them. Their website is the same as the name, www.envisionsocialmedia.com. Visit them today to get yourself together on your social media platforms. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of This Week in SEC Football. All right, for those of y'all watching, appreciate you tuning in. Hey, what's going on, AJ? That's my homeboy, the classmate. Hope your leg is doing better, man. Hope your leg is doing better, bro. That's the homie Donnie, and my OG homeboys, the suitcase pimp Brian Quinn. Appreciate y'all watching. So we got 2 from Florida right now in the comments, and 1 from South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm not gonna. What? I'm giving away y'all stuff. But we got people watching from all. I just realized what I was doing. We got people watching from different places. They're not just limited to Virginia and Oklahoma. So they're peeping us out. Appreciate y'all watching the show. A happy 4th to you, good sir. Appreciate you. So we're gonna keep this thing moving on along. We talked about NILs, and I got a feeling we're gonna be talking about those for a while. But that wasn't the big news that broke this week, man.
That's just nuts.
The big news broke this week when it came out that USC and UCLA will be leaving for the Big Ten. I was floored when I heard that.
I mean, the West is going to the Midwest. I mean, like, it's crazy. Go ahead.
I was completely floored when I heard that because USC and UCLA, 2 of the most storied programs on the Pacific Coast, on the West Coast, with the number of championships they have between them with football, basketball, the roster of players that have come out of there and have been successful in the NFL, and just the tradition with the Rose Bowl and all those good things. And now all of that stuff is just kind of up for grabs because.
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm maybe stupid here, but I'm saying like when you move conferences, that means all your sports, right? Like everything, like baseball, basketball, all that kind of stuff. Or is it just football? Can you actually do that? Like, can you move?
You know what? I don't even know how that works.
That was a question that I had. I was trying to look it up before our broadcast, but I mean, I would think that it would be the whole school, but I'm not.
That would be my thought. That would be my thought as well. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that works. But as far as football is concerned, they're joining the Big Ten, and their drop dead start date. Their drop dead start date. I'll get you a question in a second, AJ. Their drop dead start date is 2024, which is a year ahead of the deal with OU Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So basically, what's going on
is wrong, but the SEC is your 16. That brings the SEC to 16 teams. That brings the Big Ten to 16 teams as well, right?
Right. So basically, and this is just me imagining this in my head. So last year, when it came out that OU and Texas decided to make the jump, I think everybody else is looking at them like, they're crazy, man. They're moving to another conference. They're going to get their butts kicked, man. But we're good. Yeah. But then I don't think when that happened last year, I mean, look how far we've come in a year because it was just July 1st of last year that we were talking about OU Texas. Well, we weren't talking about it because we hadn't started yet. But that was the big news is OU and Texas were moving to the SEC. A year removed from that, now we got kids getting $9.5 million deals to go play football. No, it's 2025, man. 2025 is they can buy out at any point, but their buyout equates to about $25 to $30 million per year before the grant of rights expires. So the grant of right expires for OU and Texas in 2025. So it'll be another couple of seasons before we see them. But so UCLA and USC decided to make that move, and they're going to be playing in 2 seasons. They're going to be playing in a different conference. And to get back to the other question we had in the comments from AJ, do you think these mega conferences are forming because they will need the money for the NIL? Yes, in a roundabout way. But at the end of the day, the root of it all is money. Period. Point blank, simple. The Pac-12 teams are basically relevant to the rest of the Pac-12 wasn't relevant to the rest of the to those of us that grew up on the East Coast, except when in my lifetime, except during the Pete Carroll era. The Pete Carroll era when Reggie Bush was running up and down the field at USC, or BYU when BYU was killing it. When BYU was national champions every other year, or Oregon when Oregon made their run. Now, don't get me wrong; they're still nationally relevant, but they're pretty much only relevant, really, really relevant. They've got that West Coast TV market. So what they're
Yeah.
trying to do is they're trying to tap into the Big Ten TV market and get more exposure, which means more revenue for the schools. And of course, the two largest revenue gaining schools in that conference are now leaving. So now all these other teams are kind of in a panic because, you know, they're saying, what does that mean for the Pac-12? What does that mean for the ACC? What does that mean for the Big 12? I did hear a theory that the SEC and the ACC were basically going to cherry pick the Big 12 in a joint effort to collapse the Big 12 so that the SEC would not have to make that payout to pay for OU Texas.
Well, that goes to the conversation about two being at two conferences, right? I mean, like this happening right now just solidifies like that's the end goal, to have two power conferences. You know what I'm saying? And you know, with the money, I just don't understand it. I mean, like we talked earlier, you know, off the broadcast. I mean, it's in the article you had sent, you know, and posted. You know, it does away with the rivalries. I mean, the years upon years upon years of rivalries that schools have had. You know what I mean? And then it actually goes to the bowl games. Like, it's going to affect the bowl games. So like, it just
all day. But remember, remember, y'all thought I was crazy last year when I was talking about, are the bowl games outdated?
No, I never disagree with you on that.
Well, I forgot who. Somebody said that the bowl games weren't outdated. Somebody was arguing. Maybe it was Sean. I'm not sure. But remember, we talked about that last year. The bowl games outdated. Yeah. Are there too many bowl games? Well, some of these bowl games are
there are too many bowl games.
They're going to become obsolete.
Yeah, there's too many of them.
I think USC had a change of heart because their whole thing was tradition and the Rose Bowl parade and the Rose Bowl every year. And then they started looking at their numbers. I mean, just because the Pac-12 has, aside from some splashes of excellence from Oregon and splashes of excellence from Utah this year, last year and this year, they've kind of been a little dormant. They haven't really been relevant. Look at all the other teams in the conference. Washington, that was once, Washington, that was a huge power in that conference, has gone kind of dormant. ASU, Arizona and University of Arizona and ASU, they've gone dormant.
But to go along with what you did, the article or whatever, have this graphic of the United States of America, like the whole country, and then it had all these, these schools up there. It looked absolutely crazy to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It looked nuts.
So just a quick educational lesson for those people that are casual football fans but don't really know how things goes. You basically have 10 conferences in D1. Now, I think there's more conferences, but the main ones, the ones that everybody talks about, are the Power Five. That is the Pac-12, the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12. And then you've got the Group of Five, and I don't know the names of the Group of Five conferences, but I think it's like the Mountain West and the All-American Conference and Conference USA, things like that. So basically what is going on, another theory that was thrown around was that these other conferences were trying to form super conferences because of the fact that the SEC domination of the CFP and BCS even, that they were trying to kind of level the playing field so that, that there would be more of an opportunity for other teams to get in. I honestly, at this point, it's all about revenue. It's money. Yeah. It is a big, huge money grab, and you're right.
I mean, SEC's always made their cash, right? I mean, like, honestly, CBS, what have you. I mean, they've always made money.
Well, yeah, but I think this past year they moved over to ESPN, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, they've got their own channel, right? They've got ESPN.
Yeah, you got the SEC network.
I mean, but they still have CBS. Like, honestly, they still have the game, like the noon games or the 3:00 games are still on CBS. Like, I mean, it's SEC from what I remember.
So the big thing is, it like I said, it's about money. It really, it's about money, and the real losers in this, the big losers in this are going to be the schools in the smaller conferences. It's also going to be the fans, 100%, because 100%. how many people? Okay, from the Pac-12 alone, the biggest fan base is probably in Los Angeles with USC. How many of those people you think are going to pack up and take a flight to Ohio to see USC play Ohio State? How many people you think are going to fly out to Ann Arbor to see them play Michigan? I'll tell you how many.
Well, that's
Nobody.
How the schedule is going to be? How the schedule is going to change? Like how the schedule of who they play during year. How's that going to change? Will it change because they're in a different conference? I mean, they've got to obviously play, a different. They play their teams in the same conference, right? So I mean,
wait a minute. Hold on for a second. I have to frame this. Mr. Spencer said one of us made a great point. I'm not clowning.
It was
Sean,
me. It was me. It was always me.
But it's funny. It's funny you say that because it was Sean that was the one that was saying that I was that I was crazy with the bowl games. And he does say, speaking of the bowl games, you lose those. If you lose those bowl games, I mean, there goes college football. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's a big part of the culture of college football is
your rivalry too, man.
You got your rival. Number one, you have your in-conference rivalries. Number two, you have your out-of-conference rivalries. Case in point, like Georgia Tech, or Florida State. Like your in-state rivalries, you're going to lose those. Your in-conference rivalries, you're going to lose those. That you won't get them every year. When you got a conference with 24 teams, they're not going to make these kids start playing ball in August in the heat of August. It's already still balls. I said balls. I shouldn't have said that, but still, it's already balls hot in September when they start playing.
Sure,
they're not going to make those kids aren't going to play any extra games. Man, what? I'm making $9.5 million a year. I'm not playing 4 extra games plus spring practice, summer practice.
I got somebody waving, fanning me because I $9.5 million. Somebody, fanning me on the sideline.
Right. So So now the question is, what are these other teams going to do to try and stay relevant, to not get left behind? Because
what's crazy is like it kind of go ahead. I mean, it kind of goes along with these cupcake games that they're paying millions of dollars to play to get stomped. You know what I mean?
And that's another good point. There go the cupcake games.
Yeah.
There go your warm-up games, because now you've got a conference with 20 teams in it, 24 teams in it. Mm-hmm. You might get a cupcake game with inside conference like Georgia Vanderbilt. That's an in-conference game. It's a cupcake game, but it's an in-conference game. But the days of playing teams like Sanford or Georgia State, those days are going out the window. So what are these other teams going to do to not get left behind? A year ago, it was just 2 teams that made the jump, and that was it. Yeah. Texas A&M was salty because they didn't want Texas to be part of the same conference, blah, 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 blah. But now you see that move being made, and now the other conferences are like, oh, crap. Like, what's going to happen to the 2 conferences that are everybody's most concerned about are the Pac-12 and the ACC. Because there's not a lot of power teams left in the Pac-12. If Oregon and Washington leave the Pac-12, that's a wrap. And then in the ACC, you've got Pitt is decent. North Carolina's had to come up, and Clemson, of course. Virginia, and we can't throw Virginia Tech under the bus, right?
No.
But what happens to those? What happens to those 2 conferences?
Virginia Tech got to be a huge proponent to join the SEC. I mean, I'm a huge proponent for them actually to join the SEC. But what I'm saying is, like, all these teams, the rivalries are pretty much gone. You know what I'm saying? If it continues on, these hundreds of years of tradition and this, that, and the other, playing these different teams, it's gone. And
now. The funny thing about this is the linchpin in all of this as to what happens with the ACC is the one team that everybody has been saying for years needs to join the conference, Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame has been like, no, because Notre Dame has their own deal. They got an NBC deal. They don't have to have they're a private school. They don't have to have their own network. So they got an NBC deal. They're operating as an independent. So all that money is theirs. They don't have to share it with anybody. But if Notre Dame does not move, like Notre Dame, if they don't move and they get stuck on the outside looking in once these conferences realign, how much? Because now you have a scenario where you're going to have teams that are going to go 12-0, and they're not even going to sniff the playoffs.
But that's my next point. It's like all these people jockeying to different conferences. How is that going to affect the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Oh, the playoffs will definitely have to realign. The conference championships will pretty much just be a formality to say, "Yay, we won our conference." But the playoffs,
Rose Bowl won't be your normal Rose Bowl. And these higher
here's what's going to wind up happening. It will be significant only in the fact of bragging rights, but it will no longer be an automatic ticket. Like you could go 12-0, right? Like with all these teams, you could go 12-0, run the table, and win your conference, and still not get an automatic bid. Because up until this point, it basically was a foregone conclusion. If you run the table in any of the Power 5 conferences and win your conference championship, you're getting in. In the SEC, if you run the table and lose your conference championship, and that's the only loss you've had all season, you're still going to the college football playoffs.
Regardless, I mean, depending on who it was again.
I'm sorry. I got to adjust my shirt. It's a little bright in here. Yeah. Just saying. But but that's going to go out the window. Like all of these things that were considered automatic are going to go out the window. Like the NCAA, I think they need to, if they're smart, they need to get the brain trust together now, because they're going to have to figure this out. Otherwise, what's going to wind up happening is the conferences are going to be so big that they're just going to have their own individual championships and screw a national champion.
It's going to be like the Central Florida. They're going to make their own championship. They have their own parade.
Right.
You know?
A 24-team conference, 8 more, and you got a professional football league.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these kids are making millions of dollars. I mean, it's essentially the NFL anyway, right? I mean, these boys are making millions of dollars in college. It's essentially the NFL anyway.
Yeah, so you got, and then here's a stat here that I did not even know. They're between the SEC and the Big Ten, there's 32 teams. And they control most of the money and the airwaves. Like, seriously.
I don't know. That's what I was saying, like 16 and 16.
Here's a case right here. If Cincinnati goes undefeated, like let's say they form up all these super conferences and they all take effect in a couple of seasons. Cincinnati's not getting in the playoffs. They could run the table all they want to. They could mollywop everybody by 25 points a game and have record stats and break NCAA records. They're not getting into the playoffs.
Yep. Nobody batting out. Yeah, nobody batting out of them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because right now, the way things are moving, the SEC and the Big Ten were way ahead of the power curve, and they're just getting started, man. They're just getting started.
I find it funny that USC, is moving. With the whole thing about the light intel and there's kind of stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like, could they not stay in the news? You know what I mean? It's just funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, look at the teams I mentioned in the ACC, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. Those are the three. I forgot about Florida State and Miami. Like, even though they haven't been great, they're still considered big draws, because they have huge fan bases and they have huge television bases. And they got some decisions to make too. Like, what do we do? Do we join the SEC?
Well, I mean, if you look at the conferences, do
we join the SEC, or do we stand pat and see if Notre Dame will come over, and that'll give us a bargaining chip to pull some teams from the Big 12? You know what I mean? Like this move, this one chess move, this one very calculated chess move, just basically changed the entire face of college football as we all have known it. Yes, there have been realignments before. Yes, there have been additions, like when Georgia won the national championship back in 1980. Missouri wasn't part of the conference. Texas A&M wasn't part of the conference.
Well, I mean,
but now, you know what I mean?
As far as the conferences and everything, I mean, like, how can they not be somewhat geographically correct? You know what I mean? Like, Missouri has no business being in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? A&M, I mean, maybe they have more like geographical sense being in the SEC. You know what I mean? It's just,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I mean, it's just me talking right now, but I mean, like, I don't even know. Like, I told you, like USC and the UNL. Oh, I'm sorry, USC and UCLA. I mean, they're going from the west to the Midwest, right? I mean, so
Right.
they're going. It's just as far as having these conferences, named these conferences like the Southeastern Conference. These schools should be Southeast, at least very least South. You know.
Well,
You
what's
know.
going to wind up happening is they'll wind up renaming.
Oh, of course, of course.
They'll wind up renaming. I mean, even
Well, they're
here,
going to have to.
I've got a story here about 5 teams the SEC should look to add if they're going to expand any further. And yes, I see your conference there. I see your comment there, AJ, about he says the SEC would. He doubts they would take them both because Miami and FSU, because they already have Florida in the conference.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I see where you're going, but then you're also talking about a conference that has Texas A&M, and they just brought Texas over.
Yeah, they should have.
And you've got Ole Miss and Mississippi State. So I mean, now granted, they're both in the geographic regions.
I feel like Virginia Tech should be. They should have come to the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like Virginia Tech, maybe Virginia. You know what I mean? Not Missouri. Not these other teams from probably the Midwest. I mean, like I didn't understand that point, like when it happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not my pay. That's higher my pay grade. I don't get to make those decisions.
Yep. So peep this. Here's the 5 teams that they say that they should seek to add. They got Miami. They've got Florida State. And that would be the reason for that is that would make the in-state rivalry between those 3 teams ridiculous. There's Oregon, which we talked about. There's Oregon, which we talked about. There's Utah, which we also talked about, and both of those teams have had a nice resurgence in the last few years. And Baylor. And Baylor. Now Baylor kind of shocked me a little bit, but not really, because Baylor has had a quality program, going on there for quite some time.
Yeah.
They're one of the most underrated teams. They're one of the most underrated teams in the Big 12.
Sure.
But the problem is that they are in a conference where you have Texas and Oklahoma. And then to some like the top 3 in that conference right now, in terms of boosters and support, is Texas, OU, and then Oklahoma State.
Right.
So that's what we got there. Oh wow, that's just a whole bunch of extra pages that just printed out. You know how you print these articles out and then it's got all the little stories on the backside? I had like 6 pages of paper that I didn't even need. So then here's some of these fan theories going on. They're saying that there's other Pac-12, like the rumor started behind that Oregon, Washington, and Stanford would be going to the Big Ten as well, and then that got debunked. And then another one says, "Hear me out. Big Ten takes Oregon, Washington, Notre Dame, Missouri, and SEC takes Florida State, UNC, and Virginia Tech. The Big 12 will end up in Clemson and Miami, along with Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State." Well, that's not aside from Clemson, Miami, and Utah. The other 3 teams are not much of an addition to the Big 12. Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State. What are they adding to the pot? But basically, that alignment would that realignment would give the Big 10 18 teams, the SEC 18 teams, and the Big 12 18 teams, and effectively eliminate the Pac-12 just about, and kind of strip down the ACC. Yeah. But that's what you got going on right now. That, I mean, even though it sounds crazy to say out loud, it's not that unrealistic that could happen. Like the deals could all be done, inked out, and finished by the end of the year. Like,
like we just said, dude, it's all about cash, and it's unreal. It's not real. I mean, like unfathomable, but it's all about money. Like, I mean, you get the NIL deal, then you got these people, these colleges moving, say USC and UCLA, whatever, moving to different conferences. They're looking for that cash money. which is crazy.
Right.
I mean, honestly, college is already. I mean, it is a cash cow, dude. I mean, like they make the most money. I would venture to say that they make probably more. I mean, I don't say that. Maybe not more money than the NFL, but pretty damn close. You know what I'm saying? Because you
I
got these
don't
guys.
know.
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know.
close,
That
bro. I mean,
that
like
would
you got these boosters. I mean,
I don't know about that, man. Because think about that. I mean, at this point, with the revenue share among the 32 teams, I don't think there's a single owner in the league that's not a billionaire.
yeah. But I mean, I get that. But what I'm saying is like these kids are coming straight out of high school. You know what I'm saying? They're feeding these kids like millions upon millions of dollars. I'm like, how? I just don't get how that's gonna work in the long run. I mean, I don't think these kids are gonna make it to the NFL. If that makes any kind of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting this money already, and then honestly, they don't have that incentive or that motivation that Sean put it. The motivation, I mean, to get to the next, to the upper echelon, the final level to the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right. And here's my sincere hope. We have all grown up watching college football. College football has been a part of the American landscape for well over 100 years now. My hope is that it doesn't get so big that it collapses upon itself like a black hole in space.
That's a very,
Uh,
very possible.
you know what I mean? Because after a while, I mean, how long is that sustainable? I mean,
Yeah.
it's basic like college football is Walmarting itself right now. It's
True.
college football is super Walmarting itself right now. I'm trademarking that right now. Super Walmarting. That's now a
Super
verb.
Bowl.
So basically, what
Yes.
happened is the Walton family figured out a way to take the department store, the nail salon, the bank, the FedEx place, the car place, the tax place, the income tax place, the hair salon, your car repair, your grocery shopping, your
Yeah.
drugstore, and put it all in one big thing. And that's what college football is doing. It's turning itself it's just basically taking over and forcing all these
In
smaller
my
schools
opinion,
out.
it's turned into XFL, which is he hate me type stuff. Like if you get millions and millions of dollars, these guys are going to do whatever they want to do. I mean, like you said, I'm making millions of dollars. The coach that's supposed to be coaching me makes tens of millions, tens of thousands or $1 million less than me. Why would I even want to listen to him? You know what I'm saying? Why would I want to listen to the coach? You know, he puts
100%.
that, you know, and I
You're
don't think
100% right on
they're
that, my
getting this
friend.
money. They're not going to last. They're not, in my opinion. They're not going. Maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them don't. I hope they do, but I don't think a lot of them are going to last when they get fed this kind of cash this early in their career.
How far along do you think? How far away do you think it's going to be before we're going to start seeing players with their sponsorships on their jerseys like NASCAR?
Oh, dude, that's already happening though. I mean, it's been trying to happen. I mean, like, wasn't there something was sewn on somebody's jersey not too long ago? Was it? I don't know if it's football, but it was like basketball or something.
No, I think that had something to do with something that they were doing something that they were sponsoring or something like that. Like there was a big hullabaloo about, I forgot who it was in the NFL, and it was a foundation that he was sponsoring, and he was wearing them on his cleats, and the NFL fined him for it because they weren't supposed to. You know, it's got to be NFL approved. Or things like that. Now, here's a comment here from the Facebook. I don't get to see the Facebook comments in the chat function here, so I can't put them up. But our buddy AJ says if these conferences get too big, they're just going to have to break down into divisions, and it won't be much different than what we have now, except in name. And he's absolutely right. Like, they were already talking about a pod system for the SEC when they expanded to 16 teams. Right. You know, you're going to have to break it down into a north, east, south, and west pod for the SEC. But heck, they might be expanding to 18 or more, depending on how many teams they decide to swallow up. I mean, not only that, the poor group of 5 schools that are just trying to, you know, to catch up in terms of revenue. Like Cincinnati is a great school with a great program, but they're in Ohio and they're competing with Ohio State. Who do you think is going to win that battle with the TV audience? Right.
And I was going to say, like, honestly, it's just, you know, how people think that. I mean, maybe they're jockeying. All these colleges are jockeying for different conferences, what have you. But since, I mean, let me ask you this. This is kind of a question to you, Fingaz. It's like, since we've actually won the national championship, since Kirby actually completed and jumped that hurdle that we've been trying to for 40 some odd years.
He finished the drill, my friend.
Yes, absolutely finished the drill. But what I'm saying is, you can agree with me that people are going to be upset, and it's going to happen. The playoff is going to be 2 SEC teams. You know what I'm saying? More than not, it's going to be 2 SEC teams in the playoff. In the 14 playoff, there's going to be 2 SEC teams in that 14 playoff, and it could potentially be, most likely, going to be 2 SEC teams playing for the national championship. Now, how much do you think this affects? Oh yeah. How many years?
That's what just happened, and that
no,
was
I understand that just happened.
That's a third time it's happened in 4 years,
and it's going to happen. It's going to happen year upon year upon year, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Since Kirby got it, it's going to be Georgia, Alabama, if not A&M. But Georgia's going to be there since we got over that hump. But what I'm saying is, like, there are other teams that are mad, about the SEC being in the playoff every year.
Well, it's like I just said earlier, the SEC and the Big Ten control the lion's share of the money, and he who has the money makes the rules.
True.
I mean,
do you think it has anything to do with
they have enough money. They have enough money and influence within the NCAA that there's no incentive for them with the monies that they're contributing to the schools. There's no incentive for these programs to want to change.
100%.
I mean, perfect case in point. Look at the makeup of this. Look at the makeup of this past January CFP. 2 SEC teams, 1 team from the Big Ten, and 1 Group of 5 team.
Yep. And when Notre Dame's in there, you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be a loss. You know what I'm saying?
You almost got me.
Almost, yeah. I tried to make you spit.
Don't do that, man. This stuff is expensive. But yeah, I mean, dude, what more can we possibly say about this? I mean, it's going to get. I think it is going to get worse before it gets better. Like, it's going to
get much worse, though, bro. I mean, like, honestly, how can it get much worse?
Well, you know what I mean? how can it get much worse? What's going to wind up happening is the Group of 5 teams will completely get shut out, because I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I haven't heard a single. The only Group of 5 team that I have heard mentioned even remotely close into being brought into a Power 5 conference was UCF. That's it. That's the only one.
Yeah.
And even then, wasn't Billy Napier their coach, and now he's at University of Florida? Or was Billy Napier at Cincinnati?
I think it was Cincinnati.
He was at a Group of 5 team. He was a Group of 5 coach last year. Now he's at Florida. He replaced they got rid of him so quick that I can't even remember his name.
I mean, I don't know how much this would affect the amount of playoff spots. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned UCF, the Tulsas, the teams that otherwise would not be, playing for the national championship, what have you. But I mean, this right here, in my mind, all these teams are jockeying for a different conference. Where this would pretty much put them to the backside. I mean, they're not gonna.
Yeah, the Group of 5 essentially is going to have to. They'll probably wind up breaking them off into a separate division. Kind of like,
would it be like D2? I mean, like, would it be that as far as like not D1, but they're actually pushed off to like a quote unquote D2, Division 2 type school?
I don't know how that would work, because there's already D2.
No, that's hypothetical. I'm just saying, it's like
I think I saw in the comments earlier somebody said something like a Division 1 AA, and I think that exists already as well. So I mean, what's going to happen with all these super conferences is, now what kid is going to want to go to any other school except for one in the super conference, because they're not going to get enough exposure to get noticed to get in the league. Because
how much money does he want the super conference teams to pay him to come there? Bam.
Right.
I mean, it's nuts.
It's going to be like the motivating factor is not even to get in. The motivating factor is going to become, first of all, who's got the biggest bank, who's got the biggest bag for me, and then secondly,
we're talking all this noise. We're talking all this stuff for high school kids. Kids coming out of high school. I would never in my life believe we'd be talking this, having this conversation about.
I mean, there have been some great kids. There have been some great kids across professional sports that were talked about in high school that have done well. Kobe Bryant comes to mind. Moses Malone came straight out of high school. LeBron essentially came straight out of high school.
And I'm
Like,
not disagreeing, bro. I'm not disagreeing at all.
even then, we're talking NBA. What's the kid? The Bryce Harper wound up getting signed by the National. But see, did get for every one of those? For every one of those, for every one of those, you get a Bryce Harper who comes out, and I'm not saying that he didn't live up to the hype, but he's still in the league. He's still in the league, but he's not nearly living up to the hype that they hyped that kid up like he was going to be the best thing since. Dare I say it? The best thing since sliced bread.
Sliced bread. Well, no, Mike Trout is
for those of y'all that missed that reference.
High school.
Yeah. For those of y'all that missed that reference about the sliced bread, go back, hit the Zagniff Productions YouTube page and check out the bit we did on sliced bread. There's a whole bit, and it was pretty good. And I didn't even plan it as a bit. It just worked out that way. And the post-production came out pretty funny. Like, nah, fam, sliced bread. So, dude,
it's just crazy that you and I come from a different time. You know, it's I guess that might be some of it. Like, we come from a different time where, I mean, I just think that they're just messing it up where these kids coming from high school, they need to do something or play to a certain level to get to college or get a scholarship to college. Then you get NFL, then you get the cash money, then you get that bag.
Right.
I mean, but now they're actually moving 2 steps, behind it, like before that. They're giving you money. And a lot of it has to do with what you look like on a piece of paper, like going to 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever have you, not even knowing what you can do on the field. They're getting offered this kind of cash. I just think it's
and it's
if it was me, I wouldn't be mad because they pay me money, but that's point.
And then the whole debate that's being had amongst the fan groups, like people are already talking about in the Georgia fan groups about, oh, we had a commit for 2024, flip over to another school. It's like, that's 2 years down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, calm down, folks. Like, really, just it's football. My big fear is the college football that we know and love is going to be completely unrecognizable in about a decade. It's on the way. And it's, unless somebody steps in and does something, then that may come to fruition. You're right. There's too much money involved for people behind the scenes to make. As a matter of fact, here's a conspiracy theory. What if this was a plan all along, and the first step to making that happen was saying, yeah, let the kids get paid. Because if the kids are getting paid, they're not looking at the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right.
If the kids are getting paid and their parents are getting they're able to, oh, mom, dad, I bought you a house or I bought you a car or whatever. Yeah. None of them are looking at what's going on behind the scenes.
Hey,
that's scary, man.
Great point. That is a great point, and it makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about it that way.
That's scary, man. I mean, there's 100. Like, think about this. There are 130 teams, I believe there are in Division I football. 130, broken up into 10 conferences, the Power 5, the Group of 5. How in the hell? I mean, you're talking the SEC and the Big 12, the Big 10. Okay, so here's a suggestion. Make the SEC and Big 10 go to 24 teams each, 4 6-team divisions. Then each conference has a 4-team playoff to send the winner from each conference to the national championship game. Well, that would require I think that's the whole thing. The whole concept is what's going to wind up happening is one of the Power 5 conferences is going to go away. More than likely the Pac-12. So when the dust is cleared, it'll be, sorry, Pac-12 fans. It looks like that's the way it's going. So it'll more than likely be the Big 10, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. So if all of them go to 24 teams, they have a 4-team playoff to determine their conference winner, and that's how you get the CFP. I actually like that idea. Will the NCAA and the playoff committee do that? Probably not. You know why? Because it makes too much damn sense.
There you go. It makes too much sense.
Kind of like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. You won't kill me out of some twisted sense of honor. And I won't kill you because you're too damn fun. So that's basically what it boiled down to. It makes too much
that's it.
sense.
But
I don't think they'll do it.
That's why I'm a college football fan first, because I love watching these kids, ball out and play to their heart. And I know these kids are good, and they're playing to the next. I mean, they're trying to make it to the NFL. Now, if you throw these, this amount of money to these kids, I mean, it's not going to be the same. I mean, like, honestly, I'm not an NFL fan because I know these guys are getting, they're getting their check, given to them, whatever, however they do, because they sign a contract. But I'm saying, I watch college, because these kids they're looking for that next level. And I see the drive, I see the heart,
I watch pro football just because I want to be in the know, and also because I don't want to be behind the power curve watching Let's Talk Football going, what's Sean talking about? What's yak? What's yak? I thought that was a big animal with horns that roamed the plains with the buffalo. No, I'm playing. I like NFL football. I just think it's a different game altogether. It's more
absolutely, and that's all I'm saying.
It's way more strategic because you got to watch the number of carries your guys are getting and things like that, and you got to worry about your super players, your super contract players getting hurt, your max contract players because you just gave them a ton of money and you can't afford for them to break a leg or something like that because now their money's all tied up in a contract.
They play more hard, and they do that just because they need to get to the next level, regardless of the sophomores, juniors, whatever have you, whatever. They want to get to the NFL, make it to the next level, get that bag, whatever. That's fine, but they're playing with that passion. I give them that cash money. That passion just seems to me would go away, in my opinion.
Yeah, but there's also the thing about we get some good comments in the Sean, chime in, man. You mighty quiet. I know you're on the road. Be safe, but I hadn't heard from you in a minute. But AJ has a great comment that he threw in. He said, with the goal of getting to the NFL, I think most college athletes are playing for the honor of their university, and that is very, very true.
Yeah, I'm not meaning that by any means. I'm not saying they're not. Trust me, I'm not saying they aren't.
I think that with the way that things are going with the NIL deals, you were going to, between the NIL deals and the conference realignment, you're going to see a whole different class of football in about 10 years. You're going to have guys that are going to be complaining about, like, any given Sunday, like LL Cool J complaining about not getting his touches because he's got to get so many touchdowns to get a bonus at the end of the season. Or Lawrence Taylor's character is like, you get one more concussion, you might not live through it, but he's still trying to play because he got $1 million bonus coming if he makes X number of tackles during the season. And some of these kids are going to get these contract riders and these NIL deals, and without anybody to look at this stuff for them.
Hey, but I'm saying, like, outside looking in, I would love to see just an example of these NIL deals of what the contract or what these kids are signing. Like, I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think these kids are reading the fine print?
No.
To be honest with you?
18 years old.
They just stamp it on there. I mean, I would love to read the fine print. I would love to read the contract. And
you have parents. You have parents that are like,
probably wouldn't read that either.
I don't care how good a parent you are. It takes a special breed of parent to know that your child, your teenage child, is going to be making a bunch of money and not think about how you can get your hand. Think about how you can get your hands on it. You don't believe me? Look at Britney Spears and all that she's been through with her family, and Lindsay Lohan and Gary Coleman, et cetera, et cetera. These child stars whose parents just blew their money.
I've got an example of this. I got an example. I bought my first townhouse up here in Northern Virginia in 2003. My father came up here. He went to the table with me. Went to the table to sign the documents. I mean, you bought the house. You know how many documents that is. You got to sign. My dad, being the country boy he is, he wanted to read them all. And the woman was like, "Sir, we don't have that kind of time." My dad was like, "Well, I just want to make sure everything." That's what I'm saying. I hear what I hear. It's one of those things. But some of these kids need to have somebody, lawyer, mom, whatever, need to read this contract or whatever they're signing. Because I would love to read what they're signing. You get that cash money, but what are the
Yeah. To answer your question, AJ, and his question is: with the NIL, are these kids allowed to have an agent now, or at least an attorney to review these contracts? I don't think. Look, as an American citizen, you have the right to leave counsel. Period. But yes, I do believe they are allowed to have agents now. Like there are people that are signed with sports agencies. I don't think they're allowed to have like agents. Like, yes, they are. They are. So
Yeah,
there we go. That's the short answer. I know they are. It's just I think it's on a different level than the pro athletes, but I believe they are. Yes. So a lot of these kids have their parents acting as their agents, and it's drooling. Like it's like, ooh, Jalen's making $9.5 million over the next 3 years. It's like,
how can that kind of contract not have some kind of loopholes in there to kind of
I'm sure there are, man. I'm sure. Dude,
not in favor of the signee. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, dude. Of course, that's the whole thing. Is like nobody issues a contract that doesn't have something that covers their butt, and that's the thing. These kids aren't taught. The kids aren't. I don't think these kids are thinking about. You wait. Seriously, I'm flashback to 1988, which was 34 years ago. I'm coming out of high school and some company offers me $9.5 million if I come work for them for 3 years. Do you think at 18 years old that I'm thinking about, let me read this contract and read all the loopholes, or let me get somebody to read this for me? All I'm asking is, look, you got an ink pen? I prick my finger. I'll sign it and spit. $9.5 million. I'm thinking about how impressed the girls are going to be with the new car that I'm driving, or the new clothes that I'm wearing, or the big house that I'm living in. That's what I'm thinking about. So, anyway, but that's just me. But yeah, man. So it's really gonna be crazy here. We gotta move on. I knew we were gonna run a little bit long here today because of the subject matter, but at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we've come up to our final segment of the evening, which is the 2-minute warning. And this segment of our show, as always, is brought to you by 1906 Tees. They can get you the gear you need, custom college gear, custom college sports gear. They can't make the mascots and all of that stuff. They can't make you trademark material, but they can get you what you need. Get at them today. They can get you squared away. Let's get to them today at squareup.com/1906 Tees, and they will get you right. Thank you for being a sponsor of This Week in SEC Football. Those of you that are just joining us, welcome to what is now the end of the show, but we appreciate you coming and joining us anyway. I am Mr. Fingaz from Zagnif Central, that handsome fella right over there, the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place, in his face. I am very happy to be here, Collin P from the DMV, and the man whose intro gets longer with every 3 shows. So we appreciate y'all being here with us today. My 2-minute warning, I'm going to circle right back around on what I talked about yesterday. Mental health and burnout. Well, not mental health. Recognizing the signs of burnout. It's very important to know when you are hitting the wall. You understand what I'm saying? It's really important to know when you're hitting the wall. It's important to be able to recognize those signs. Just this past week, I realized that I am burnt out. Like, just in general. I'm not burnt out on life or anything like that. I'm just burnt out between the 9 to 5 and the shows. And don't worry, I'm not taking a hiatus or nothing, brother. We still gonna keep this going. But between work and the shows and trying to keep things going around the house and trying to find a little bit of time to spend with the family and, just in general, burnout, man. Just burnt out. And it hit me like a ton of bricks on Friday that I am burnt out and I need to do something about that, because burnout, if you keep working through burnout, that can affect your health, how you sleep, how you sleep, which will affect your health. It can cause weight gain. It can cause your body stop releasing endorphins, things like that get you the motivation to get up and get going every day. That's why, when you find that people are burn out, sometimes they also it's co-located with depression sometimes. So it's very important to make sure that you are able to recognize the signs of burnout in yourself, and if not, keep somebody around you, your day ones that will recognize that within you. So we've been talking a lot about self-care lately. So that's my 2-minute warning for the day.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, I can definitely relate. It's just one of those things where you do what you're committed and what you do. Like you wake up and like I said, when I have my son, I get up when I have him. It's the funniest thing. It's like I get more rest, like more deep sleep when I don't have him, because I get the lightest sleep ever when I have him, because I'm always constantly waiting, just listening for the smallest thing. And you're talking about the just self-care or whatever. Yeah, obviously you just I mean, you need other people to kind of depend on, and obviously, Fingers, I'm the one you can always call, and obviously vice versa. If anything, I mean, not to say anything's going wrong, but I mean, like, it's kind of like your job, right? Like my job, I work for Verizon, whatever, and a lot of these people, a lot of these upper heads or whatever, they'll see the numbers being made on paper, but they don't see the kind of the drama or the kind of the stress that their employees incur or what have you. They just see they're making their numbers. I mean, that goes along with other people. You just need to you need your break. You need to hang out with your boys, talk to your boys, what have you. It's self-care, right? And
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. And like I said, and the rest, that's the biggest thing ever. So
Yeah,
but no, I'm with you.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, make sure that you're looking out for yourselves, because without looking out for yourself, then you are unable to effectively look out for those around you. So, make sure you take it, and even then, sometimes you need to, sometimes you have to back away from that too. Just for a little bit, not go somewhere and be completely like, you guys are on your own, good luck. But
Right.
you have to be able to, you had to be able to step back and take some you time. One thing that I have started doing is I'm a big shower dude. I got it from the military. It's this thing. There's nothing like coming home from the field and getting in a hot shower, high pressured hot shower. Not how women like it hot. Not crab boil female shower hot, but like hot enough to feel good and relax your muscles with the high pressure. Get up under that joker and let it just wash away all the dirt and stuff from you. My big thing now, run that big. I got a tub. I got an adult size tub. It's not quite Anthony adult size. I'm a little too tall for it. I sit in with my knees bent, but I get in that tub and run some hot water. Put some Epsom salts in it. Put some bath salts in it. Put I got this scrub, this orange brown sugar scrub that I put all on my face and stuff. And man, look, come out feeling like $1 million. I might get one tonight.
Bro,
I kind of thought, come out feeling like $1 million.
You were going to say, like you were telling me about cutting the grass earlier. We was on the phone, man. I was like, I thought that was going to be your kind of saving grace out there cutting the, your new.
Oh no, that is definitely therapeutic. That is definitely therapeutic. But Oklahoma is very damn it hot right now, and so I only cut the front yard.
Is Georgia damn hot? Come on, man. The humidity is
no. The Oklahoma is a different animal than Georgia. See, Georgia can get up to 90, but then you get 100% humidity. That's all right. That's all right. I'm talking about 104 in the shade, dry heat. That's a different animal.
Right.
That's
better or worse.
Better
or worse?
Worse.
What do you think? Worse.
Worse from
a heat.
Worse from a heat perspective. Now the thing with Georgia is, with the humidity, you could cut the grass, go inside the house, take a nice shower, put on a fresh set of clothes, go out to the mailbox to check your mail, and you're soaked again. Now but the thing with as far as the heat, Georgia heat can't touch this out here. Can't touch this out here. Like you literally. I'm glad my car got cloth seats. That's all I got to say.
So you gotta let it go stick to them.
Yeah, man, bruh, that heat out here is no joke.
That's all good. So go ahead. I mean, like before we shut it off here, you gonna tell people that where you gonna be? You gonna be back here and celebrate Fairfax, right? I mean, like, you gonna come here. I
am, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. For those of you in the Virginia area that are watching this, whether you're watching it live or you're catching the replay, yours truly will be back in the Northern Virginia area from August 18th to August 20th to host the Celebrate Fairfax Karaoke Championships on August 19th in Tyson's Corner. That will be from 4 to 9 at the park at Tyson's. The event is 100% free to the public. There will be a food truck. There will be a beer truck. And I think that's pretty much basically what everybody is concerned about. I mean, it's not going to be the fair. It's going to be in that one location. We are pretty much going to be the attraction of the day. There will be open karaoke. There'll be regular karaoke. I'm probably going to hit a couple of karaoke spots while I'm in town. I will be in town Thursday.
Your ass better hit me up when you're around because I got to see you.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. I'll be in town Thursday evening through Saturday evening to return back to the Sooner State on Sunday. So if you're in that area, definitely get at me. My time's going to be a little limited, but I got a couple of places I'm going to be, and there's going to be options for catching up with your boy. So, I am definitely not going to come to Virginia and not eat at the BBQ Chicken and Beer over in Centerville, Virginia. They got bomb Korean chicken. I might hit up, depending on how busy it is. I probably won't do Honey Pick because they're way out of my price range, but I definitely will hit the Iron Age because I got to get me some Korean food while I'm there. Your boy loves his Korean food. And there's a couple other places I will hit, a couple other spots I will hit while I'm in town. So get at your boy August 18th through August 20th. AJ, if you find yourself in the National Capital Region, let me know. I'll introduce you to my boy Collin P from the DMV. We'll get up. So we want to thank those of you all for joining us today for this week's, for this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. We appreciate you guys joining us. On behalf of myself, my co-host Collin P from the DMV, we appreciate each and every one of you all. Oh, by the way, don't forget. See, I keep doing this and I keep forgetting to do the other stuff. I start closing the show out and then I forget. Don't forget to hit the website down there, over there in the corner where Collin is. It's that way. Over there in the corner where Collin is, hit the QR code or hit the Etsy shop link. Get yourself some gear. You might win yourself a new top and a new bottom courtesy of Zagnif Apparel come August 7th. So now we're going to do this again. We'd like to thank you all. We're going to get out of here. On behalf of myself, Mr. Fingaz, the Zagnif Central, my partner, the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place, in your face. I'm very happy to be here. Collin P from the DMV. We are This Week in SEC Football, and we are OUT out. We'll catch you next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.